How's it going, Leo community? Soul Tigress here with a special story for this wonderful frequency. So let's go ahead and get started with this introduction and the vibe. Buckle up, Buttercup. It's going to be a bumpy ride. This isn't because the world has something against you, dear Leo. It's because you are ready to shed what was once known and to emerge into something new. When we do this, we reach a deeper depth of knowing thyself. To reach this, Leo, you must be willing to conquer your inner conflicts that you carry in the present from your past. And I'm hearing one more card. There's our last card. Oh, this is powerful. I believe the previous story or the story before this one, you were on the brink of getting ready to break a cycle. And in order to break certain cycles, certain traditions, it takes a lot of work. And this is something here that you're almost there, a little scoochie more, and then you're going to have this shedding of the old self, the old ways of seeing yourself, the old ways of being hard on yourself. So we have something here in the past. So let's see what's going on with this. Oh my goodness, this was at the bottom of the deck when I first grabbed them to start cleansing out. Something here that has to do with communication with others, communication with yourself. And it's not just an outward, but the inner world, how we're thinking about ourselves, how we think the world views us, how we think about others. So let's start unwrapping this present and some of these anxieties that you could be holding towards the future of things. Something we have here is caution. Caution. Take your time. When we need to hold caution, we need to kind of slow it down and reassess a lot of times. Taking one step after another. This isn't trying to skip steps here. This is doing one thing at a time. And when you're getting ready to end certain cycles, certain traditions, the best way to do it is taking your time, fully immersing yourself in this. And then we have something that you don't see is that they'll be back. What does this they'll be back have to do with? It has to do something with you are like over analyzing on something that you always have to go sneak a peek to get, something that you can't put to a rest in your mind when it comes to over investigating what has happened. I'm hearing to say the communication that has happened. Maybe it's that you're waiting for them to come back and to communicate with you, type of energy as well. Give things time, but in that time, if you want things to be different, then you have to change up things and do things differently as well. And when we do that, you're going to allow doors to open for you, but you're going to allow the doors that are no longer serving you close and stay closed. And maybe to get some kind of communication that you really want, that is the key, is to following that intuition when it comes to especially handling people, different people with different motives, their different views on things. And this has to do with somebody who's really about themselves at this moment. If this person is a narcissist, then it's best just to leave them be. But maybe it's a narcissistic energy that's being thrown out because this person has chosen themselves. This place has chosen itself over you. And maybe deep down you wish it wouldn't have happened like that. And that's why the communication is not here. And maybe because everybody is a reflection of us in some type of way. Maybe this person makes you feel like a narcissist in a sense because you've had to choose yourself and what you're doing at different moments in your past, especially when it comes to the communication of things. It's not calling you a narcissist. I'm not saying you're a narcissist, but maybe when you think about things, you feel a little narcissistic for putting it as it's my way or it's the highway kind of thing. And I know from past stories with you, Leo, you get really hard on yourself about how you handled things in the past, even though that's what you knew what to do. If you really feel a certain type of way about yourself, the only way that's going to change, the only way that you're going to see any kind of healing from that is to, again, take one step at a time with yourself, following that intuition, healing what you need to heal, and finding different ways to communicate as well, not just with others, but with yourself. I have a situation where I know a Libra, and the Libra always leaves it for somebody else to come in and communicate with them. That's up to them to reach out to me first. And I tell this Libra, you know what? I bet you that person feels the same way. I bet you both are mirroring each other's stubbornness, but yet both of you are waiting for the other to reach out. Think about that. Oh my goodness. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and get started into the present. Angels, ancestors, spirit guides, divine, what is it that needs to come out for the present? Quite a bit, obviously, all at once. Something here with your will. You're very upset with yourself, especially how you've willed things. And this makes you really hard, especially when you think about the future of things with yourself, maybe with others, and your future self. That's okay. That's okay. That just means that we just need to, again, confront these inner conflicts so that you can shed that old self. When you shed that old self, like mentioned in the vibe, you're going to learn about yourself at a deeper level, what your wants are, but most importantly, what you need, what you deserve to have around you, even within you, I'm hearing to say, when it comes to your inner home. So we have some stuff here that is of the wee bit past, but it's not too far past behind us. First card we have here is the Nine of Staves, not knowing what to do. Do I let everything crumble when it comes to the things that I stand up for, when it comes to my boundaries, versus being over dominating, because for some reason in the past that was the more progressive way, especially to get other people to understand where you are coming from and how you are leading your life, how you want to lead your life. What I'm hearing is you were making changes from your older past self to the more recent past self, that you were trying to exercise those changes. And one of the things is you were trying to make yourself stronger. Whatever it was that you were changing in this past, there were certain things that may have weakened you, certain things that took a lot from you that you knew was not good for you. So the things that you don't recognize, especially when it comes to your intuition, is how you made those changes to help benefit yourself. And I don't mean that in a selfish way. I mean that you realize at some point in your life when you could have been emerging into adulthood, maybe on the brinks of emerging into adulthood, when you started realizing that, hey, the way I'm going, the way I'm doing things, this is weakening me. This is taking from me. I'm not gaining in this spot. I'm not gaining with these routines. And I feel like this is what's being highlighted here, that you recognize that. and you started to change things up. There we go. The beginning. The Fool card. You took a chance. You believed in something that you were deserving. And what was it geared by? It was geared by wanting to provide, wanting to be more stable, wanting to have that stability, not just for yourself, but for others. But the whole thing is you still are taking a certain outlook with you from then until now. There is something here that you got stuck on. With the World card here, this is Saturn energy. Saturn is also Capricorn. This talks about where we hold on to certain things to seek security, but we also resist change. So you held on to something, the idea of that you needed to change things up, but then you got stuck in that only kind of one view with things, and that's okay. That is okay, because again, you were making progress. Here you have still made progress from that immediate past, but you're not seeing it. You're not recognizing it. And with this Queen of Staves here, this is asking you that, or is actually saying that you had to sit down with yourself and you had to sift through the emotions of things before you came to the decisions that you came to in the past, especially when it came to breaking old habits, breaking old traditions. You took some lessons and you started to see what was the wise choices and what was also the naive choices that you were making. And you chose to learn from that and do something different. But it took you going to a spot and being able to sit with yourself and start to question things that were happening around you. Again, all falling under that intuition. How can you see too that back then, in order to make those changes, Leo, it was all one step at a time. That first step was starting to become conscious of the things that were not fulfilling you, the things that were taking from you. And this could have been people, places, and or things. That can be really hard at times. That could definitely be really hard. Something here, you have a hard time with this Temperance card here. This is going to be Jupiter energy, which is Sagittarius. What you see is you don't see much optimism when it comes to the relationships that you could have lost along the way. You don't really see the other side to optimism. You see only the one shadow side to optimism, and that's because it could be self-blaming. It could be finding ways to be really hard on yourself for what has happened. And the thing is, at the end of the day, when it comes to the future of things, you doubt your own guidance. You doubt that you can have healthy relationships, healthy communities, and be able to kind of be more at one with things, I want to say. Because usually with the Leo card here, which is the Sun card, it usually depicts a child. And usually the child is in movement. So it's a very innocent type of energy. But see here, we have these women, and yet we have an higher up vibrating energy right here. And that's where I feel like you really, really, really felt like you messed up when it came into your community by the ways you were willing yourself with your willpower type of thing. And see how that falls under the narcissist type of energy. That's you being really hard on yourself, Leo. The whole thing is we're meant to make mistakes. We are meant to fail. And one thing that is really hard that I'm coming into alignment with is understanding how a lot of our schooling as young children really didn't teach us critical skills such as being able to assess how we feel, being able to learn from our mistakes in a positive way, opposed to being hard on ourselves because we're not being like everybody else. We didn't get the perfect ending like we have the expectations to. Our perfect endings are us being able to find our purpose in life and being able to align with that higher energy, I would say, opposed to it being just the material goods, or even to the people that we surround ourselves with. Think about it, Leo. If we had a choice in things, we would keep the people we love and the things we love chained to us, like the pharaohs in the past. When those pharaohs would pass away, they would take their pets, they would take their servants, they would take all their worldly possessions and have that all sealed up, mummified just like them in a tomb. But we can't do that, because in this day and age, we respect people's free wills. And the thing is, you have had others in your life who exercise their free wills in certain ways. And if you approve of it, even if you don't approve of it, there's nothing you can do to change it. But what you can do is to learn how to heal from it and learn how to see yourself a little differently. Because at the end of the day, you're not coming in as any cards of a narcissistic energy, even in your present moment, even in your past, even though you feel like it. All right, so let's call in our angels of protection. Angels of protection. Please help, guide, and protect us as we navigate the shadow side, the block here for the Leo community. Oh my goodness, I'm seeing two more. There's one, there's two. Oh, that strength comes out again. And what's funny is we do have an energy here where you do view yourself as the villain. You view yourself as not being very caring, as being very emotionless when it came to certain situations in your life. And from what I can see is you really, really look at that. You look at that every single day that you get up. You work. If you're at work, you're still thinking about it. If you're at home, you're still thinking about it. If you're driving, you're still looking at it. It's something that's never off of your mind. And that comes to that over-analyzing, trying to detect or spy something, maybe a new idea where you can still blame yourself. So let's go ahead and continue to unpack this. So first card here is we have a Queen of Cups energy. And what I'm feeling like is this is referring to somebody else. This could be whether male, this could be female. But the whole thing is, what this is you had somebody else, and I'm hearing to say that was drunk on their own power, their own self-indulgence type of thing. And the way you view them now is you view them as being more innocent, opposed to being the cause to some of the effects that you carried out when it came to dealing with them. And something that was really hard to deal with them is they were very immature. They were immature. They were condescending. They were somebody who couldn't respect what was going on around them, couldn't respect their environment. And this was something that you met with a higher up authority. It's almost like you seen what was happening, but you wanted to over dominate it with what you knew. You took that stave out and you were ready to tan their hide with it at any moment to try and prove where your place was versus where their place is. And this could be between a parent, this could be even between spouses type of energy. This could have to do with the work personality as well. But the whole thing is you were trying to show it that you knew more than what it knew and the mistakes that it was doing. You wanted to govern it in a way to where you were guiding it, but because of how you were reacting, you came off more brutal, would be the word, towards it, especially when you go in reassessing how you were dealing with it. A few other things we have here is the Lovers to the High Priestess. I can't show you those cards, but I could show you to the Knight. The whole thing is you were very quick with the reactions here because this person, this place, and or thing wasn't of higher up type of energy. They weren't taking care of business like they should have been. They could have been very overly emotional, couldn't process their own emotions. And again, this was something that was supposed to be awakening for you. Maybe you were supposed to learn here, or maybe the challenge or the lesson presented here that you're still struggling with now was to be able to do things differently, especially when it came to how you were communicating with them. Maybe how you even thought about the situation. A lot of times the Knight of Swords is the fastest knight in the tarot deck. This one will head off. They will head off into their intuition. They will head off into their clarity. But they will not put up with others. They're going to be quicker to react as well. And I feel like that quickness to react was you trying to correct something here. But it wasn't happening. Again, it was something that really depleted you, that really pulled at your strength, and in a way that you don't know was controlling you through its actions. Oh my goodness. And here. It's hard. It's hard to sit with it. It's hard to sit with yourself. It's very hard. Because things have changed. Things have changed so much in a way. Whether they've gone, whether it's not around anymore, but things have changed. What once was isn't around. And it's not celebrating type of energy here that you have when you look back at it. It's something, again, that's always there, and it's something that you blame a lot of yourself on. But doing that has kept the doors close to you, close to healing, close to being able to open up doors, whether it's to get back alignment with certain people, certain places, certain things. And it's because you're sitting here saying, well, it's me, it's me, it's me, it's me, it's me. Do you know what something that they didn't teach us in school about socialization is the relationships that we have around us, whether it's with family members, whether it's with coworkers, whether it's with neighbors, whether it's with friends, whether it's with acquaintances, whether it's in communities that we frequent. Every single relationship that we have with another person, we have to learn how to maintain. And it's just like them. You want to have great relationships with people, then you have to learn how to invest in them and maintain them. I'll give you an example right here. I have great relationships with the people I work with. They're amazing. Now, if we were to go to some of my neighbors, I don't have great relationships with them. And I'm not just talking just about my immediates. I'm talking about even up the block, down the block, and all that stuff. I do have certain ones that I have really good relationships with. But I was actually thinking about this. I was thinking about my work life versus my home life. And when I started to actually step back and look at the bigger picture, I invest more time, more energy into maintaining my work relationships than I do with the relationships of my neighbors in the neighborhood. And I noticed that so many years back, I had the goal of trying to get better at not having so much social awkwardness. I'm an introvert at heart. I know this. I'm okay with this. I love it about me. But before, I really didn't come to this kind of understanding of myself. I was always hard because I was so socially awkward with people and I couldn't be an extrovert. So one year I started at this job and I was like, I'm going to work on my communication skills, especially when it comes to others. So every day that I went into work, no matter how awkward I was feeling inside, I made sure to tell every person, whether coworker or acquaintance in the building, hi, a genuine hi, letting them know I see them, telling them to have a great day. And you know what? It got to the point where one of my bosses thought I was an extrovert and they didn't even know I was an introvert. And see, I was pondering this the other day because, like I said, the relationships that we work on, the relationships that we maintain are always going to produce more fruitful outcomes, especially if it's lessons that we need to learn on what we don't deserve, or lessons that we need to learn on how to maintain relationships with people and the fruits of the labor we get from that by just doing that. One thing that I do speak to clients about is maintaining the nurturing part of the garden when it comes to marriages. A lot of times people get married, they have that honeymoon phase, and then that's it. They don't continue to maintain that nurturing each other because they figured, well, we got to the married part, that's it. That's all we needed to do, and we're good. And this is why I go back to saying in school, we did not learn certain skills that were more important than other things that they were trying to cram into our brains about that we don't even use to this day. They didn't teach us how to have critical thinking. They didn't teach us about maintaining things, especially when it comes to people, places, and or things. So it's okay. It's okay if this is feeling a little funky fresh and it's really new to you. But this is something that can help you start to look at things a little bit different for yourself and for this past, but also for where you want to go with things and who and what you want to have a relationship with and maintaining it. So, yeah, let's go ahead and call in Divine. Divine, 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 and universal energy. What needs to come out for the conclusion for the Leo community? Oh my goodness. Oh, we have Archangel Gabriel here. I'm hearing one last card. Okay, what is that last card? There it is. Oh, and it's a door opening too. Oh my gosh. As you see, a card landed right here. There's nothing I can do about it. Contract. No matter how you feel about this situation, and this is really harsh to say, how personally you feel about this situation. It was meant to happen, and it was meant for you to find a way to create an inner balance within yourself. However this worked out, it was meant to. Again, a lot of times, even through failures, we learn what we deserve, we learn what we don't deserve, we learn how we want to treat others, how we want others to treat us as well. I'm guilty of being an asshole. I've had past times where I was not the greatest person, and I had to go and apologize as an adult to other people because I didn't know better in my past. So take what has happened in your past and when you didn't know better with a grain of salt. And something you need to know is the door of spirit. You know, sometimes things happen to us to help align us with higher beliefs of things, to get us to wanting to believe in higher things. And what is that? Being able to heal. Being able to have a transformation. Being able to transcend past what was once written in our story. We've heard of a lot of different stories from different people who started off with rough past, making choices that were not okay. But along the way, they learned that. And they learned that they had a right to heal. They had a right to change. And they had a right to do things different, no matter what anybody else says. Right here, Leo, I don't think somebody's bringing in your past to use against you. I think that you're just using your past against yourself. And I think that's something that you have to start to learn to love. How am I supposed to love my past self when I feel like an asshole, when I feel like a villain? Well, that past self actually needs the most love. That past self needs the most understanding. Why? Why was it that you were doing what you're doing? Was it because you felt like you had limited resources to lean on? Limited resources that provided examples for you or should have provided examples for you? Really go back and fill it out, but don't fill it out with the critical mind, with the anxieties that plague your fears. You got to fill it out with divine communication. And that's what Archangel Gabriel represents. Divine communication. In order for you to alchemize this lead that weighs you down into the very gold that provides you the lesson to free you to victory, to help you to appreciate yourself and all the different phases that you have overcame, but also been through. You know, even the choices now that you beat yourself up about, you need to learn how to appreciate those back then because you were doing the best that you could. And that's going to help align you with your strength again. Being able to understand who you are, knowing thyself on a deeper level. And the way you do that again is through communication with yourself, with the divine, especially when it comes to the memories that you over focus on, where you self-blame, where you're upset that certain things didn't work out in certain ways with your community, the very things that feed your anxiety, the things that you hold your heart at bay with. It's time. It is time to say hello to your intuition. Say hello to wanting to do something different. To say hello to healing. And being ready to spread those wings and to transcend to another level of yourself, a higher up level where you care about yourself, you understand yourself at a deeper level. Oh my goodness gracious. Fun fact about the Archangel Metatron, one of very few people who are able to go from human to archangel. If it's possible for a mere human to be an archangel, then it's possible for you to transcend out of these depths where you're hard on yourself, you're beating yourself up over people, places, and or things who were too drunken on the things that they wanted. It's okay to bring balance to yourself. It's okay to accept the new beginnings that you had to take at one point in time, because all along the way you've been transmuting the things that have been weighing you down into the things that you're very passionate about. Wow. Wow, this was a really good story, Leo. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, and your patience. And don't forget to thank your angels, ancestors, spirit guides, as well as divine and universal energy for coming on in and helping out. And as always, I hope that you have a most wonderful rest of your day.